Hello everyone, good afternoon. Very happy to be here, and it's quite a big surprise. I remember about 10 years ago when I first started teaching at 我北教. I was teaching an English class, English speaking class, and I discovered this amazing website, and I was so excited to share with my students, and that website was TED Talks. And I think it's just so amazing that here we are 10 years later on the stage. So my name is Johnny. I was born in Taiwan, and after a month, my parents took me to the United States, and I have grown up in the States, and I have been educated in the States all my life. And I must say that all that time there, I never once thought that I would come back to Taiwan. So it's very interesting. Like originally I wanted to be a writer and I wanted to be a filmmaker. And about 12 years ago, I was in Taiwan in the south, and my uncle mentioned that in Taiwan they were 招外籍老师. So, I thought, what the heck, I'll just try it. And so I remember, I had the interview, and they interviewed me, they talked to me, and then right after the interview they said, okay, you're hired. Okay, so please, 5 minutes, go to this room. So I went to the classroom. I had no experience teaching at all. And so they just told me, okay, you're going to start 5 minutes. And so I go to the room, and I'm so nervous. And then I open the door, and then I see this whole room full of, it's junior high, okay, junior high school students, and every single one of them looked just like me. And I have to say, in that moment, I just felt so happy. I felt like I had come home. So ever since then, I have changed my direction and I have become a teacher. Now a lot of people, when they find out that I'm a teacher, first they ask, you're really a teacher? And then I say, yes, I am. How long have you been teaching? I've been teaching for 10 years. And even that, they cannot believe. I almost cannot believe it myself. But it is an amazing job. I love my job. I love it so much. I'm so blessed. And what makes my job great are my students. I have some of the greatest, most amazing students around. And some of them are actually here in this room. Okay, so we have Joyce here, we have Katie in the back, and it's just a really, really great feeling, and this job is so wonderful, and it is so fulfilling. Now, of course, I would say that there are some things that I notice about Taiwanese students and Taiwanese young people, which I think my background in America, it lets me to see some big differences, and I feel like I want to say something about that and hopefully maybe provide some kind of a solution. Okay, so today the topic for today is called Finding the Direction of Your Mind, Finding the Energy for Your Life. This topic is something that I feel is very, very important for Taiwanese young people. Regardless of young people or working, I sense in Taiwan there is a kind of malaise, there's a kind of listlessness in the people. I don't want to say everyone, but in general, sometimes I feel something, and I really want to do something to help that. Okay, so to begin, I would like to talk a little bit about impressions and memory. Okay, so I don't know if you have ever had this experience. You have this really, really amazing, moving memory. And it is so clear in your mind. And it is something that means so much to you. And at some point you are able to speak to someone that was involved in that memory. And you say to them, hey, yeah, do you remember that time when, when this happened? And they look at you like you're crazy. What are you talking about? That time when we did this. Or have you ever had the experience where you watch a movie as a child? Maybe it's like an animation, maybe it's a Disney movie. And there are scenes from that movie that are so deeply etched inside your heart. And one day, in your adulthood, you happen to find this movie and you start to watch it. And the movie is different from what you remember. Have you ever had this experience before? Yeah. So, what did you do once you discovered that? Once you discovered that the scene that you thought happened didn't actually happen, what did you think about your memory or your experience? Did you, like most people, say, oh, I made a mistake. I was imagining things. That was not correct. I want to say here that our personal memories, which we associate with the past, they come from our impressions. And our impressions, they are different from, what should I say? The event, the physical thing that happened. Let me explain a little bit more. I feel that the nature of our memories is very special. Our memories are impressions. What is an impression? An impression is our sense experience, okay? Seeing, smelling, touch, taste, hearing, plus feeling. Now, what is memorization? Memorization is sense experience, but minus feeling. Okay? So, this is a better way to understand it. If you have ever seen a child's drawing, you will know that that child draws from its impression of a car, an impression of a building, an impression of a human being. And that child does not care, does not know whether or not its impression is different from memorization. Memorization being something like a photograph. Now, this is the thing. Picasso said that all children are natural-born artists, and it is true. But once they get to adulthood, they lose all that. Maybe once they get through elementary school, they lose all that. Maybe once they get into, first grade, they lose it. Why? Because our education system starts to emphasize what is correct and what is incorrect. And usually what is correct is what we memorize, what is exactly in the book. We have to know exactly, word for word, reproduce what it is our teachers want us to learn. At the same time, our impression is always regarded as incorrect. So what you see here is that we are taught from a young age to begin to doubt ourselves, to doubt our experience, to defer and rely on an outside authority to authorize us, to verify that what we experienced was correct or not correct. So what happens is this education system, it separates us from our feelings. It separates us from ourselves. And that is why we see so many young people and so many people today in Taiwan, not just in Taiwan, but in general, who are living in a daze. You go through a whole day of work, and after that day, you know, someone asks you, what did you do? You have no idea what you did. You ask someone, what did you do last week? You have no idea what you did last week because you are living separated from your feelings. So there are a lot of consequences for young people, this kind of education. So this is talking about thinking. I have to be honest, when I look at students' homeworks, I find that, you know, if students read an article, they can give me the points in the article, but that's it. They do not give me their opinions. They do not process what the article contains in terms of their life. Thinking means concentrating on one thing long enough to develop an idea about it. Not just learning other people's ideas or memorizing a body of information. I think when we teach to memorize, we tend to just want to do things quickly. We don't want to spend too much time on materials. This is from an article, it was an interview with Zhang Zhengchen, the 3-star chef from Taiwan who has his restaurant, one of the top 50 restaurants in Singapore. And in this article, he talks about how he used to have a lot of Taiwanese, what do you call that? Okay, 工读生, okay? A lot of them were from Taiwan. But at the time of the article, he had 0 Taiwanese employees. Why? Taiwanese employees, young people, they would come to work at his, restaurant. They say, "Oh, I'm so passionate. I really have 热情 for this. I have so much 热情." But after 1 month, okay, after 2 months, they say, "Oh, 我家有事." And it's not just one person, it's many people, they say the exact same thing, okay? So Mr. Zhengchen, he started to get a feeling for something is going on that is wrong with the young people. It's not your fault, it's not the young people's fault. It is the system that has caused us to become this way. But one of the things is this. Young people, they are used to taking orders. Okay, you tell me what to do. You give me the SOP, okay, and I follow the SOP. I don't want to use my brain. I don't want to think. Don't make me think. But a lot of employers, they have a complaint that when something happens that's outside the SOP, the young person doesn't know what to do, or the young person doesn't have any reaction whatsoever. This is not right. It is not natural. Okay. This quote, I love it so much. I love it so much. My Chinese is not that good. For me to read this article, it took me about 3 hours, okay? But when I got to this statement, I was just so 震撼. I was so 震撼. What this guy says, it is amazing. Amazing. Young people, they need to read this sentence. Because you know what? You want to be a great master of anything. You have to do that thing again and 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 again. That is the only way. And when you do that, you discover something amazing about that activity. It's true. It's true. Now, always, when we do something, we should aspire to greatness. We should aspire to greatness. Otherwise, why are we doing this? Why waste your time? We should aspire to be the best, to do our best. What does it take to be the best? Well, it's really awesome that some scientists, they studied a bunch of great musicians, great scientists, great artists, great doctors. And they came up with a number. That number is 10,000 hours. You want to be great at something, you want to be a master, you have to spend 10,000 hours doing that activity. Are you willing to do that? Do you do that? Now, for a lot of young people, you might see this and you might think, oh my God, 无法. 放弃吧. But I would like to say that there is something that you have spent already, right here, right now, 10,000 hours doing. I swear to you, you already have done that. What am I talking about? I'm talking about 滑手机. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time, but I want to introduce this article. It is amazing. It is so interesting. 15 people, just like you, ordinary people, nothing special. They want to do something to change their life. They want to live. So, we are very lucky now because we have YouTube, we have Facebook, we have Google, we have so many free online tools for anyone to learn anything. So this guy here, he never played ping pong. He learned on YouTube to play ping pong. After 1 year, he is already professional, ranked 250 in the whole world. Amazing, right? There are so many things that you can do. If you want to do it, do it! Do it now. Okay, so these are the tools that we have now. We have low-cost self-education. We have affordable data trackers and apps to monitor your progress. Because real learning, it has to be done with awareness. It has to be done through reflection. As you do that, you will get better and better and better until you become 不知不觉, you become an expert. Really? Okay? When you do that and you change your life, you can share your story. And guess what? When you share your story, you can help so many people who are just like you at the beginning of your journey. Okay, so this is the project that I did. And here I want to introduce this concept, okay? I had a student, he is a 体育系 student, and he discovered that he is very interested in looking at young Korean people who come to Taiwan and they do a video blog. So he watches so many hours of these young Korean people making the video blog. So he decided for his project to focus on that. First week, he looked at where the young Korean people like to go in Taiwan. Second week, he looked at what do young Korean people love about Taiwan. What do young people dislike about Taiwan? By the third week of doing this project, he had already decided what he wants to do. He, being someone who knows where young Koreans go and what young Koreans like and dislike. And he being a 土生土长台湾人, he knows places that the Koreans had never gone to. So his idea is to create a tour for young Korean people. Think about that. What an incredible niche. How much money he can earn from that. This is what I want to say. If you try this, you can achieve Ikigai. Ikigai is a reason for living. No longer being listless and, in a haze, living in a cloud. No. 4 things. Do what you love. Do what the world needs. Do what you can be paid for. Do what you are good at. If you do what you love and it is what the world needs, you have your mission. If you do what the world needs and what you can be paid for, you have your vocation. If you do what you're good at and what you can be paid for, you have your profession. If you do what you're good at and what you love, you have your passion. But each of these things alone is not enough. Okay? If you do what you love and it's what the world needs, you have delight, you have fullness, but you're poor. If you do what the world needs and what you can be paid for, you are excited, you are complacent, but you have a sense of uncertainty. If you do what you can be paid for and what you are good at, you are comfortable, but you feel empty. If you do what you are good at and what you love, you have satisfaction, but you have a feeling of uselessness. For you to find your purpose, you must be able to fulfill all 4 of these factors. And that is what you can achieve by trying this on your own. Okay? I wish you all to find your purpose in your life. Thank you.